The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the Phixated podcast. I am your host who almost missed his signal, Mike Azzolina, and I'm joined by a guy who gave more effort from his couch tonight than the Sixers did in the fourth quarter. Regz, we'll get to it. Not great.
I was showing you some good box out moves on the live stream. So, you know, in case you missed it, people can go back and watch if they want to learn something.
Yeah, maybe that should be the Sixers tape watch tomorrow before their game 5 on Tuesday.
It's okay. It's our fault that we didn't put enough butts in the seats.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that in a little bit. We're going to talk about that, but otherwise, pretty fun weekend, man.
It was a fun weekend.
Pretty fun weekend from the baseball team. I saw a great concert. Like the draft. Just all around, like good.
I mean,
weekend.
It started on Thursday, right?
It sure did. It sure did. Your house, the whole thing. How was baseball this weekend?
It was good in results for one, bad in results for the other. But, you know, overall fine.
Oh, no.
Ange and I had to leave a little early. We had a friend's wedding in Baltimore. So, of course, my oldest son decides when my wife and I are not there, he has a triple, which he just never had before, and has a bases loaded double to go for 4 RBIs in his second game of the day. So that's what he decided to do while we weren't there. And we're watching on the, you know, the app that we can, Game Changer, as we're driving. And I feel like a terrible father because I wasn't there, and I know I rag on him a bunch and get on him for all these things, and you know, then you just want to be there to be like, look, man, you can, like, I'm so proud of you for doing this, and I wasn't there, and I felt really bad as a dad. So that was a fun little 10 minutes for me.
I mean, listen. I'm sure that my mom and dad probably think too a lot of moments in my career that they wish they could have been there for, but
yeah,
I don't hold it against them. I mean, I can't think of any that they weren't, you know what I mean? I'm sure I know they missed games, but I can't think of any now that I'm 37, you know?
Yeah, it's okay.
Don't be so hard on yourself, big guy.
No, my mom told me the same thing. I went to Cooperstown with a travel team back in the day, and I hit a few home runs, and my parents missed all but one, and I hit 4, I think, 3 or 4. And my mom to this day says she still feels terrible. And she said when she told me at the time that I missed them, I was like, well, my grandparents were there. It was fine. You know, all I wanted to do was be there for him so I can give him the triple goggles. Like, that's all I wanted to do.
That's awesome.
Because that's what I would have done. I would have looked right at him. Yep.
The Trey babies.
I would have looked right at him.
I love it. Well, congratulate him for me. I got to see all 3 boys' swings the other day. All 3 of them. Got to see all 3 swings, and certainly they are baseball kids. That is for sure.
You got to play a little catch. You got the whole run. Basketball.
Catch,
everything.
Basketball, soccer, all the things. I'm very sore. I'm very sore. All the sports in one day. I haven't done that since I was like 15 years old. It has been a minute. So, but I had a lot of fun, and then went to a concert yesterday. I went to see Luke Combs in State College. Let me tell you, man, dude played for like 2 hours. And I don't know if you've ever listened to Luke Combs. I don't remember if you're like a country guy.
I dabble. Yeah.
So what I love about this guy is he's not like your typical looking singer, right? Like he is not he's a pretty big dude.
Mm-hmm.
I think his music is incredible. I love his lyrics. He's got the voice of a freaking angel. But what I love about him is like there's no like I don't want to say there's no showmanship, because there is. But he doesn't like need the pyro, and he doesn't need the dancing, and he doesn't need like This dude literally, for the first 3 songs of the night, walked around stage with a microphone and a red Solo cup and just slayed music. Like, it was so good. And then, like, at the end of the show, randomly, like, takes out a beer can, gives a beer can, like, shotguns a beer in the middle of a song with a couple of people. And right before he sang Fast Car, the remake of Fast Car, so it was in State College.
Yep.
And that's where, like, Thon occurs, right? So a lot of pediatric cancer. Now, this was research, fundraising goes on there, for those that don't know. Now, this was 80,000 people, largest crowd he's ever played in front of. It was a record for him. He was super grateful. But he talked about a little girl and her family who came from San Diego. We'll be talking about them later. That's what's in. And she is a cancer survivor. She was actually, like, I think she was diagnosed when she was 1. It was hard to hear him because there were so many people who
Yeah,
were
right.
around us. But she was diagnosed when she was like 1 or 2. She's now like 5 or 6 and finally like in full remission. And throughout the time that she was like really fighting, like 4, 5, 6 years old, when she was kind of understanding what was going on, she started raising money for pediatric cancer research, and she raised like $100,000.
Oh man.
And he was like, I'm gonna match that tonight. I told her I was gonna match it before the show. And then he paused and he goes, and I changed my mind after tonight. I'm actually gonna double it. Dude just like threw out 200,000 grand in the middle of his concert. I mean, this is the same guy who walked on stage with a sore throat and was like to the crowd, "Oh, I don't know if I'm gonna, you know,
right.
and then was like, "No, I'm gonna play, but I'm gonna give you my money back." Like,
Yeah, right.
I'm reimbursing every one of you for your ticket prices. Just like the ultimate dude, man. And such a good show. We had such a good time. And I'd go see him again. It's like hit after hit after hit. I forgot all of the songs.
Yeah, right.
So good, man. And then, you know, today happened. So let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
I spent the morning doing yard work. I did not go to over 30 baseball. I think the retirement is near. And I took the dog for a walk, got back, walked in as Joel dunked the first possession of the game. And I was like, all right, let's do this. They were in control pretty much up to about 2 minutes to go. Halfway through the second quarter when the Joel minutes went down. It's just such a nightmare when he's not on the court. But, you know, they went up 2 in the halftime. It was pretty back and forth throughout the third quarter. And I said to you right at the end of the third quarter, this is it. Because they're down by 1 or 2, and the Joel minutes are coming. Yeah. They never sat him. And I actually think they were, I don't know. I can't decide if they were worse off or if it would have been too far out of reach by the time he got back in the game. Yeah. So kind of want to go through your thoughts on the ending because I'm sort of back and forth here with should they have given him a quick, like even a 2-minute breather, like just to sit down for 2 minutes. Hopefully get a couple whistles in there. Maybe you just call a purposeful timeout in there. But the dude can't play he cannot play a full half. Like I don't know that there are many 7'2" dudes who can play a full half. Like, let's be honest. We can get on Joel for a lot of things, but being asked to play a full half of basketball at his size with his injury on top of it, like it's really not a fair ask. And I'm not quite sure why it happened. So what were your thoughts on Joel having to be out there because they can't function as a team without him on the court?
I still think they probably should have given him a little bit of time, especially like with the quarter change. You have a little bit of time, like more time than you usually would. Like you said, maybe you call a timeout just to get him, like before you bring him back in, just to get him another like sort of few minutes because they're going to go to commercial if it's a full timeout. You know, you sneak in an extra 45 seconds to a minute with that. And I think especially because the Knicks had taken out Brunson, that you had a better chance. No one else was really killing you, like Brunson was. So maybe you had again, they probably aren't winning those minutes. I think we all know that by now, but I still think you gotta give him a breather because he was just a zero in the last 5 minutes. I mean, listen, everybody was, but
everyone was a zero because no one, like, Joel wasn't part of anything.
Yeah, and just couldn't be. Just didn't have the legs to do anything. I mean, look, at one point with Joel in the game, though, they were up 10 in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And then it turned into 3, and then it turned into the Knicks leading. So it just, I don't know, man. We'll get into it with some of Joel's comments afterwards. To me, it just came down to, yeah, Maxey had his 20-something points, but again, nothing in the last 5 minutes. No one else was able to step up and give you anything that looked like creation or a good shot in those last couple minutes. I think they went 7 or 8 straight possessions with no points.
From 5 minutes, 4 seconds left.
Yeah.
Until the buzzer.
And they weren't even like, it wasn't even like they were getting good looks and missing them. You could almost justify it if they were getting good looks and guys were just missing them. You still wouldn't feel good, but you'd be like, okay, Nick had something planned and it worked. They just missed the shots.
It was 2-man ball with Lowry and Maxey.
Which is terrible because Kyle Lowry can't do that.
No, not at his age. I mean, he's given them a ton of effort and good minutes, but like
I thought he was a liability out there with the size mismatch. I thought a lot of the rebounding came down to him having to like guard Anunoby or Precious or somebody who was just way taller than him.
But like I can specifically name 3 or 4 rebounds that were in Sixer hands.
Yes, that they just bobbled,
and they just just bobbled. It, like happened to Toby, happened to Batum. It continually happened, and the Knicks in the final like 6 minutes. I'm pretty sure I read it was 6 minutes. I could be wrong. Maybe it was the fourth quarter as a whole, but they had 4 different trips down the court with three rebounds. Like they missed 2 shots. Yeah. They got third chances. That's insane. Like you don't see that. Even like the Knicks are a very good offensive rebounding team, but at that point, it's not about how good of a rebounding team you are. It's about how much effort the other team's not giving. That's not happening to the Celtics.
Yeah.
That's not happening to the Bucks. That's not happening to the Pacers, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
Like that's how, and that's why I'm so dead set on the Knicks are not winning whoever they play in the next.
No.
I get it. They're gritty. They give a lot of effort. There's no way they're beating a Giannis-led team.
Yeah.
If like, period. They're not that good. It's they give more effort than a Sixers team who's more talented than them. The Bucks will give effort. I don't know. I can't. I'm so frustrated. And here's what I will say to you. I said this to you before the show, and I want your thoughts on this. It kind of leads into the Joel comments. It's the why should I even believe? I'm almost at the point where I'm not watching on Tuesday. Why would I turn it on? I know the outcome. They're gonna lose by double digits on Tuesday. There is no way they're showing up on Tuesday and win.
Yeah.
I am certain that they are losing by double digits. It's never going to feel close on Tuesday. We already know. We've seen this story before.
Yeah, I don't know, man. The conclusion I came to after this series and after Joel's comments like about the crowd, Joel Embiid is just not a player who's going to lead you to a championship. Despite the talent, despite the MVP, despite the ability to win, to score 50 in a playoff game, he doesn't have it, man. And I know we can talk about injuries. He's obviously had plenty. You know, I'm not going to like be the old guy saying, you know, well, Isaiah Thomas like practically broke his ankle and still led the Pistons, you know, to playoff wins. Obviously, it's like a point guard compared to a 7'2", 300-pound person. So I get it. It's a little bit different. But look, there are plenty of examples of the best players of all time having injuries and playing through them and leading their team to playoff victories and wins and series wins and championships. I think, and again, the more I think about it, the process killed Joel Embiid's competitive spirit. The attitude of, well, we just have to coddle this guy because these are our shots at the dartboard, right? Simmons, good Lord, the point guard they drafted. Why can't I think of his name? Good gracious, the kid who couldn't shoot.
Fultz.
Thank you, Fultz.
Markelle Fultz.
Yeah, Markelle Fultz. Thank you. Joel Embiid, like, they came in and were told, we're going to keep losing, but eventually, you know, we'll turn this around. And like, oh, like, you know, everything's fine, Joel. It's all okay. You know, you gave it your best shot, buddy. You know, that was the attitude. It's like when I'm talking to my T-ball team and I got kids who haven't never played baseball before. And yeah, in that instance, you have to be okay with them not knowing what to do or maybe not listening. Whatever killer instinct Joel Embiid may have had coming out of college, like, the process killed it. Because when you come into that sort of environment and you're told that, like, you're the shining star on top of the tree and you're able to just get away with anything, like, this is what it turns into. Like, a guy who, despite the talent, I'm not saying Joel Embiid is a bad basketball player. Please understand, I am not saying that Joel Embiid is a bad basketball player. He's an MVP. He's one of the best scorers as a human that size that we may ever see. He's just not going to be a player that can be the best player on a championship team. He's not. He's not Jokic. He's not Giannis. He's not LeBron. He's not, I'm sure we could name some other people. But he's just not, man. He doesn't have the attitude for it. He doesn't have the attitude. He doesn't have the killer instinct. He doesn't have the drive. It's just what it's come down to. This is my conclusion. And I think it took me a while to accept it. Because, again, we could make the excuses of, well, he's been hurt. Well, this and that. And, again, sometimes it's perfectly valid. He has been hurt. I'm not taking that away from him. He's played through injuries. He's played not 100%. He just doesn't have it in him, man. He just doesn't have it.
Yeah, I'm not there. Yeah. I'm not going to go with the killer instinct thing. If you want to call the injuries, and that's why he can't win a title, I might be able to get on board for that. But, like, this dude put up 50 the other night when they needed him to have that killer instinct. And he came down and hit 4. We watched him hit 4 consecutive threes in a must-win game. I'm not there for the killer instinct. If we want to say he's injury prone and you can't win a title with a guy who's injury prone, sure. But I don't know. I have a hard time saying I don't think his roster construction over the last 5-6 years has been anything close to some of the other dudes that
I'm not even getting to that. I'm just like, okay, we had it in game 3. Where was it in this game?
Oh, he didn't. He hit all those big shots in the fourth quarter after he had a break.
Again, I understand. It's not illogical. I'm not arguing against the logic of it that yes, he played the entire second half. Guys his size typically don't do that. I'm not fighting against the logic of that. But, like, if you're on the basketball court and you're supposed to be the best player on the basketball court, your team went 5 minutes without scoring a point in a playoff game. At some point, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that you didn't get to sit down. It doesn't matter that this and that is going on. It doesn't matter the other guys around you. It doesn't matter. To a point, it doesn't, like, your team that you lead as the best player on the court, not sitting on the sidelines, not injured, on the court, the team that you lead went 5 minutes of a playoff game at home and didn't score a single point. Like, it's not, at some point we have to stop looking around him and blaming everything else. This is the guy who's supposed to be the best player on the floor. Period.
But I feel like he gets a lot of blame. Like I'm not sure that I'm not sure he's without it. Like, I feel like you and I have had this conversation before where you do point the finger at Joel.
Yeah, I am. I just don't think it's like.
I also think it's really, 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 really unfair to say that the guy who's averaging almost 40 in this series is the reason they're not winning this series.
I'm not saying the sole reason. I'm not saying the
but like,
only
to say
reason.
that this isn't the guy. Like, I we'll eventually talk about this, but like, I've seen calls and I've gotten messages, I've seen tweets about like, let's blow this up and trade him, and I'm like, for what though? Like, what are you trading him for? Because who's going to want him? A contender, which means we're going to get picks between 20 and 30 for Joel Embiid. How about this? How about we clear the cap space that has been clogging Daryl Morey from being able to put a team around him for the last 5 seasons? Because there's a dude who stands in the corner and misses 3 after 3 or can't make bunnies for $40 million. And he's clogging $40 million of payroll.
Sure.
Like, let's see what happens next year when we finally get somebody on the court with Joel other than Tyrese Maxey. Most of these teams that we're talking about, most of the teams that can win a title, when their best player sits down, they've got 2 dudes who can score. Look at the Bucks. When Giannis goes to the bench, Dame and Middlebrooks are still on the court. The difference in plus minus for Joe on the court versus Joe off the court is absolutely ridiculous. He's a plus like 50 or 60 or something like that, and they're a net negative 40 without him on the floor. That seems impossible. I think it went up to 50 today. That's ridiculous. Like, you've got to have people on the court who can make shots when he's not on the court. And other teams do. Other teams have that. Tobias Harris is being paid to be that guy, and he's not. So
yeah, sure.
I'm just not going to sit and say that they can't win it with him. I will say that his injuries have certainly impacted him, and he's not a good player in the postseason because of it. Now, this year he's been great. He has been phenomenal. And I know it happened in the 4th quarter today, but this would be a hill I die on. This guy can't play a full half of basketball. And I think it's unfair. I'd have to look at Jokic, but I'm sure he gets to sit on both ends of a half because they have guys who can score. Like they don't have to worry about taking Nikola Jokic off the floor because somebody else is going to put the ball in the net. So I think at the end of the day, like, yes, he definitely has. There's parts that you have to blame Joel for. There are, and I'm not blind to that. Like, Joel definitely has done things and acted in ways that, you know, and I shouldn't say acted in ways, but has said things that are like, oh, Joe, come on, you know better than that, or Joe, this isn't the time for that. And I think today was one of those moments. But I wonder if he were, you know, take Middlebrooks off of the Bucks and put him on the Bucks, or take Giannis off the Bucks and put him on put Joe on the Bucks and put Giannis on the Sixers, and Giannis comes off the floor. It's going to be the same situation. Like, it's going to be the same situation.
Yes. I am just at the point where it really needs to be proven to me. Well, listen, if it like
be this year,
no, it's not. But I'm extremely skeptical of even if, listen, I'm not talking about if like all of a sudden the Sixers turn into like the Eastern Conference All-Stars. I'm not saying that Joel Embiid couldn't win if you surround him with like Giannis and Dame and like all these players. I'm not saying that he couldn't win an NBA championship. That's ridiculous and obviously a stupid comment. I don't know what roster you put together, given the NBA landscape as it is, that Joel Embiid will still be the leader of, right? Will still be the best player on the team. At this point, I don't think Joel Embiid can be the best player on your team if you want to win an NBA championship. And again, he can prove us wrong. He can absolutely prove me wrong. And I will eat my words and gladly put my foot in my mouth if I can get it there.
9:40 on April 27th or 8th? 27th, 8th? 27th, 8th? What is today?
Today is the 28th.
On April 28th.
Yep.
We'll see what happens this off season.
26 minutes into episode 156.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens we'll see what happens in the off season. This is where Daryl Morey earns his money, right?
Other than that, just like extremely disappointed with getting out hustled.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. No, and I think to me that's the reason they're losing.
That's a team thing. That's not only on Joel Embiid.
That's the reason they're losing this series. It's really that simple. Like Josh Hart basically was Dennis Rodman today. He literally did nothing except for rebound. He had like 16 rebounds. And look, they might have to go back to we're gonna make other people kill us because Brunson dropped 50 tonight.
Look, we said in the preview that Brunson's gonna win you a game. Like he's just too good of a player. And this is it. Today was it. Today was the game that Brunson won by himself.
Yeah, it happened. So I got two things that but two things. The first being the comments after the game. So Joel said, and look, I think some of it was a little out of context only because they're leaving part of the quote out. He said, "I love our fans and I'm not trying to call them out." But he talked about being angry that it felt like playing in Madison Square Garden. And look, I think he has a right to feel that way. I don't blame him for that. I wouldn't want to hear F. Embiid while I'm on the free throw line in my home court, right? Like, but let me give my opinion on this, and I'm going to turn both questions over to you. This doesn't happen in a Jeffrey Lurie owned organization. This doesn't happen in a John Middleton owned organization. Did we have Brave fans showing up now look, understand this. I know how close New York and Philly are. So let me start by saying that. 2 years ago, we played the Giants in the postseason. Certainly wasn't more Giant fans at Lincoln Financial than there were at Wells Fargo tonight. Like, there weren't the last two nights.
Yep.
So two things for this. The first being, I think a little bit of this is from a fan perspective. You know, I looked at tickets. I looked at them when I was sitting on the couch at your house. The prices were ridiculous. First-hand prices, not resale. First-hand prices. Upper deck, $400. I'm sorry, what?
That's like football ticket. That's like football prices
for the first round.
Yeah.
Come on. And this is what the problem is when you have a guy who owns 3 organizations in 3 sports running your organization.
Yeah.
He doesn't care. He's not invested in the team. He wasn't even at the playoff game the other night.
Especially when he just got a football team.
He was in Washington for the draft. And look, it's fine that like it was his first draft. So I'm not like super mad about that. I'm indifferent toward him because this is just who he is this for a long time since I think he owns the Devils, right? I'm pretty sure he owns the Devils. But we've known this about it. He's not invested. The only thing he cares about is the cash that comes in. And look, he's going to piss off his best player. And right now, when you look around at what he owns, Joel Embiid is the cash cow of all the organizations that he owns on an individual basis.
Yeah.
Like you own a football team, that's clearly going to be the cash cow.
Yeah.
But when you look at the one name that brings the most money for you, it's Joel Embiid. This just doesn't happen to John Middleton. This doesn't happen because they price. Look, you and I both bought postseason tickets for the Phillies. I've never purchased a ticket firsthand at $400. My World Series tickets weren't $400.
Yeah, right.
So like the pricing is out of control. Like New Yorkers, especially like your upstate New Yorkers, they can purchase those tickets. They can buy those. I can't buy that. Like and feel good about it. Like, so that's one for me. The second question that arose for me today is Joel Embiid a dirty player? Now, my thought on this is no. I think Joel gets heated. I didn't love the play the other night at your house. I did not love that. I didn't buy the excuse. I think he was very frustrated and he acted on that frustration. That's the way I feel about it. I do think he gets called out for not being physical enough. And then when he is physical, he gets called out for being too much or that he is dirty. I'll tell you right now that one of the plays tonight, the shoulder in the lane, the complaints about that, and this is what the NBA is now. The complaints about that probably have like Karl Malone, Dennis Rodman, Luke Longley, like all these dudes who played in the 90s laughing that this was complained about or even breathed about for the next 20 minutes. Because it was just a shoulder. Like I know he got him in the face, but he didn't swing his whole arm. He's put his shoulder out. If you're a little dude coming in the lane, you're going to, I took those in high school, cutting into the lane. So I don't think he's dirty. It might be a little bit of bias for me. Maybe I would hate him if he were on a different team, but I don't know. I just think New Yorkers want to act like they're tough and they want to be all, oh, we play hard. We play physical. And then Joel got physical and now they're like, oh no, don't get physical with us. You're too big.
Yeah, to the dirty thing, I think dirty players, like, they can't help it. So if Joel was a dirty player, there'd be many more examples of this. Joel Embiid is a spiteful player. When something happens to him, something inevitably is going to happen to someone else. Like, I wouldn't doubt that all the plays that Joel has been called out as being, like, dirty, I'm putting air quotations up for those who aren't watching the YouTube video. I would bet that within 5 game minutes of that incident, something happened to Joel. That's who Joel is. If Joel was a dirty player, he'd have Draymond Green's reputation. You know what I mean? Like, there's just a difference. There is. Am I saying that he's never committed a dirty play? Like, no. Like, again, that play the other night was not good on Robinson. Yeah. It just wasn't.
But you're right. It actually happened right after something happened on the other side.
Joel Embiid is a spiteful player.
Yeah.
If something happens to him, something is going to happen to somebody else.
That's fair.
I don't think that makes him dirty because there just aren't enough examples of it.
Yeah.
Dirty players can't help themselves. And there will be many, many examples of plays, unprovoked plays that will happen. And I just don't think he meets those characteristics. I just don't. Yeah. To the comments. It's just another one of those, like, come on, man. Like, you didn't win.
That's what I said earlier.
You didn't win the game either, bro. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
those are the moments where you're like, all right, Joe, come on, man. Like, we know, like, you know better.
Whatever you preface it with, like, it doesn't matter. Do you know what everyone's going to focus on? It's embarrassing that there were so many Knicks fans there.
Yeah.
That's what Philly fans are going to focus on.
Yeah.
So it's just really bad timing.
Mm-hmm.
When your team just went 5 minutes without scoring a point in a home playoff game.
That's right.
So what did we have to cheer about in the first place? All the third chances that you were giving the Knicks, or all the points you weren't scoring in the fourth quarter?
How about it?
Those are my thoughts on that.
Yeah. And it's fair. It's fair. All right. Well, here's the thing. They play on Tuesday night. I fully expect that they will lose by double digits.
A bludgeoning.
and this will be the last time that we had to watch Tobias Harris in Philadelphia. So
yeah,
that's at least a positive. All right, let's move to the two teams who are actually good. let's move to the two teams who actually have good leadership and continue to just wow.
Good owners.
Yeah. All of the things. All of the things. I won't say good GMs because I do think Morey's a good GM who just has been kind of hamstrung, I should say. All right, so the Phils. When we last spoke, they wrapped up the series with Cincinnati. They split, which we were good with, and going to San Diego, you're hoping to take the series. It's a pretty good team. You had to face Dylan Cease. And look, man, they're slugging right now, dude. They lead Major League Baseball in home runs as of today. After the 2 Bryson Stott homers, they continue to pound the baseball up and down the lineup. I mean, Bryce Harper's not even going yet.
I was about to say that's all without Bryce yet doing barely anything.
He's not even going. I mean, he's had a couple of moments and spots and games, but like he's not going. Stoddard seemed to get going a little bit today. JT had a big day today, but rewind to Friday and Saturday. Aaron Nola deals. Ranger Suarez deals. Alec Boehm, MVP candidate right now. Like I texted you yesterday and said that he legitimately looks to be like prime Anthony Rendon right now.
Yeah.
The defense, the offense, I mean, he's barreling everything. He struck out today, and I couldn't believe it.
I know, right? Yeah. With runners in scoring position. It was like, what just happened?
Yeah, it's like, oh my God. I mean, he's hitting 365.
Yeah.
365. I mean, what he's doing is out of hand.
Yeah.
It's out of hand. It's been really nice to see all across the board. Today, Taijuan Walker made his debut. I know what the stat line says. I do think that some of it, to be honest with you, some of it is he had some bad luck. The first was it the fourth? I can't remember when he gave up the first home run that put the Padres ahead, but it came after he had Profar struck out.
Yeah, a call that guy was making all night against us.
Yeah,
doesn't get a call right there.
And then a Tatis double and Cronenworth home run later, and you're down 3-2. Stoddard homers go for 3. They put up more. JT hit the bomb, and then Harp kind of booted a ground ball. I mean, it was a tough play. It wasn't an easy play, but it's a play he should have made, and I'm sure he would tell you that.
Right.
So while it says 6 earned runs, I'd say 6 unlucky runs is sort of where I'm at.
Yeah, I think up until that last inning, I think we were all pretty pleased.
Yeah.
Like if in his first start, he's going to go 6 innings, give up 3 earned, but look relatively in control. I don't think he walked a ton of guys. The velocity seemed better. He was getting some double plays when he needed him, when he needed to. That sinker was like coming back over the plate really nicely.
Splitter looked good.
Yeah. I think overall, with what we probably expected, we were hoping like, man, just keep this under 6 and we'd be happy with how this usually goes. Just like one bad pitch in the 6th or 7th, whatever it was, to give up that home run to Campusano or whatever his name is. Like that guy's terrible. Like he literally threw it right into his barrel. JT was setting up way outside, and he just like utterly missed a spot, middle in. And again, it all comes from a walk and like a play that goes off Harper's glove. So I think overall, I'm pleased. I was overall pleased with how Taijuan looked. against a team that still has Manny Machado and like Hassan Kim and Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah.
So like, even though like San Diego's not fantastic up and down, and Bogarts is not hitting particularly well right now, like Manny and Fernando can win baseball games by themselves. Like they're that good. So I think overall I was very happy with it. I tend to be on the side of, I wish they had just maybe had someone warming up a little earlier. I didn't think they necessarily had to not put him back out there for that inning.
Right.
He was at what, 75 pitches. To that point, it had been that one inning, right? He came back well after that. The team was still scoring him some runs. Like, look, this guy's supposed to be a starter for you. He's supposed to be your fourth starter. Like, he should be able to go 7 innings. And especially with that kind of pitch count, you really aren't looking to pull him at 75 pitches, like in the 6th inning. You're just not. This is not what you're looking for. So look, it is what it is. But I think overall, I was pleased with what I saw.
Yeah, I mean, he was stretched out. His pitch count was like at 78 when he went back out in the 7th. I think, if Hart makes that play, we're not even really talking about it.
Yeah, right.
So he did walk 2 guys, but like I said, the one should have been a strikeout. And I'm not crazy concerned. They have their rotation lined up for this week with the Angels. I think Sanchez gets the ball tomorrow, right? And Turnbull,
and then it looks like Turnbull. Yep.
Yeah, but they're only doing this one time.
Right. Wheeler doesn't like 6-man rotations because he doesn't like this extra day.
It's just a long stretch of games they've had.
Yeah,
and
right.
I think they're just
without days off, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So Wheeler will then throw Wednesday.
Yeah.
Look, I know I hear what you said with the Padres. This is what good teams do. They beat inferior baseball teams.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even saying that to the fact that if they had, we've lost plenty of these series to these teams that we shouldn't. I am not. Yeah.
No, I'm agreeing.
No, right. No, exactly.
Which is that this team. This is awesome to watch. They're beating up on bad baseball teams when in the past bad baseball teams have taken advantage of them.
Yeah.
It's a totally different team that we're watching right now. It's amazing to watch every night. They're living up to what they said they were going to do, which was get off to a good start. They win one of these games in LA, and they will have won 20 games in their first 30. They will guarantee themselves 20-10, Rex.
I won all 3.
Anaheim
is another not good baseball team.
I mean, it'd be great. Now, look, you go 6-0.
Listen, look again. Expectations, right?
It's as close to a miracle as you can possibly get to go 6-0 out west.
Yeah.
But even winning the series puts you at 21-9 to start the year.
Yeah.
21-9. We would sign up for that every time.
Yeah.
And right now they have the second best record in the National League, only behind the team who refuses to lose in front of them. And they're tied for 3rd in baseball. It's fantastic to see. And again, they're going to LA. They need to win 2 of these games just to go home feeling really good. Cause you got a pretty good stretch of games coming.
Yeah. It's like all NL East in May, right?
Yeah. I mean, they got, I know they have a 10-game stretch where they play the Nationals at home, New York for 2 at home and 2 on the road, and then Miami is on the road, or something like that. So yeah, you got 10 games with NL East teams that you should beat up on. You absolutely should beat up.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about that on Thursday. I do think. Let me just look here. They are finally off on Thursday. So when we talk again on Thursday night, we'll recap the Angels series and get ready for a 5-game homestand that includes 4 with San Francisco and 2 with Toronto.
Okay.
Before that 10-game stretch
Gotcha.
of games.
San Francisco, always weird.
Yep.
Just
always
can't
weird.
help it. Always weird.
Yep. And Toronto, always weird.
Yeah.
Yep. So we'll see what happens. But look, they're putting themselves in a good spot. So that's all we can ask of this baseball team. So they've got 2 9:40 starts this week and then a 4 o'clock start on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I look forward to all of those games coming our way.
Can't
but
wait.
Regs, we've got to do our update on our game.
We do.
So for those that weren't here last week, Regs and I are doing a little fantasy action with the Phillies. We might build on our teams as time goes. I think we might have to at the pitching after doing this tonight. But we'll see. We'll give it like a month and then we'll decide. So we each drafted 5 players, 2 pitchers, 1 starter, 1 reliever, and 3 position players each. Okay. So we have 5 total players. Regs drafted Kyle Schwarber, JT Realmuto, and Bryson Stott. From the offensive side, he drafted Zach Wheeler and Jose Alvarez. From the pitching side, I drafted Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, Brandon Marsh. From the offensive side, Ranger Suarez and Jeff Hoffman. From the pitching side. Just so we all are aware, this was a snake draft. Regs did not go multiple picks without Trey and Bryce. He went Wheeler
I did
first.
not. I did.
Yeah. He went Wheeler first.
I did.
So the way that we broke it down, the way that we're doing the point system is there are 13 categories. 6 pitching that include innings pitched, saves, wins, which I hate both of those, but you got it right. ERA, whip, and Ks. For the offense, it's batting average, RBI, runs, stolen bases, home runs, strikeouts, and on-base percentage. Okay. Each game, essentially, I track the stats and then I update them, and whoever's leading is basically leading. So each category is 1 point. If I beat Regs in average, I get 1 point for like the process. So I will update our stats. Now, the loser at the end of each month, not loser, but the person who is losing at the end of each month gets to swap out players.
Yes.
1 player.
Or potentially make trade offers.
Right.
With the other person.
Yes. And they can be multiple players and then they can reposition from there. Like I said, we might revisit the amount of players at the end of May just to see like, all right, let's boost this a little bit. But as of now, let's roll through this. And I will give you like your stat, who your player that killed you the most was. All right. So batting average, Regs' team batting average was 193.
Yeah. It's going to be tough for your buddy Regs.
My team batting average, 358.
Point for Azzy.
Point for Azzy. Regs' RBIs, 16. Azzy's RBIs, 15. Point for Regs.
That's wild considering the vastly different average numbers.
Yeah, however, you have 2 guys who hit we'll talk about it then. You'll see why. Runs scored. Team Regs, 17. Team Azzy, 18. Point for Azzy.
Wow, there you go.
I will tell you that
Trey has scored a lot of runs.
11 of my runs are Trey Turner.
Yeah.
So, leading your team in runs, Kyle Schwarber.
Yeah.
With 7.
There you
go. Stolen bases. Team Regs, 1. It was today.
Schwarby.
Bryson Stott.
Oh, Bryson Stott today?
Yes. We started doing this.
I know we did after Schwarber had a few. Yeah.
Team Azzy, 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trey has 3 and Brandon has 1. So Azzy takes that one. 3-1 so far. Home runs. Team Reg 6. Team Azzy 3.
Yeah.
So this is where a lot of your RBIs came.
That's true. Yep.
So point for Regs, 3-2. Strikeouts. Team Regz, 28. Team Azzy, 15.
I did pick some strikeout guys.
Kyle Schwarber alone has 17 strikeouts.
Yeah, it's tough.
So that one was a rough one. Point to Azzy.
Yeah.
4-2. On base percentage. Team Regz, 275. Team Azzy.
This one again is a murdering.
404.
Yeah.
Point for Azzy. 5-2. We're on to the pitching. Innings pitched. Team Regz, 15.2. Team Azzy, 19. So that one, I didn't think was going to be all that close, but Wheeler only went 6 in his
Rangers
last
been
start.
killing it.
Yeah. So yes, so there's that one. Point for Azzy. Saves, Team Regz 2, Team Azzy 0. I only went Hoffman because he's the only other guy they're ever going to save.
Yeah.
Still.
Well, he had one the other day, right? But we didn't.
Yeah. So 6-3 at this point. Wins. Team Regz 2.
Yeah, I was about to say getting crushed here.
Team Azzy 2.
Oh. As of counting, Ranger.
As of counting, 2-2.
All right.
So tied. ERA. This is where it gets wild. ERA and WHIP are ridiculous. Get ready for this. Since we started counting. ERA, Team Regz, 0.07.
Some would say that's decent.
Yeah. Team Azzy, 0.05.
Mother of fuck. God damn it. I can't be mad because Ranger pitching like this makes me happier than most things in life, but I'm still upset.
WHIP. Team Regz, 0.66. Team Azzy, 0.42.
God damn it, man. Jesus.
Strikeouts.
Even the
Team
pitching
Regz,
backfired on me. I tried to go pitching and God.
18. Team Azzy, 21. So the score as of 428, 9-3 to 1 Azzy. Now, a lot of these are close. You've got a Wheeler start coming up.
Yeah.
Right? So you'll probably take the lead in strikeouts. You could take the lead in ERA, right? It's at least.
I'm about to say, is that before the end of the month?
No. Thursday would be, May 1st is Wednesday.
So it doesn't count for this past time.
Well, it's total. It's in totality.
Oh, it's just like when we check in on it. I thought are we doing a month by month based on the calendar?
We're checking each week.
Right.
We're just going to update each week. The end of the month is when you can make your change.
I gotcha.
So it's a constant rolling score. You know what I mean? It's just a constant rolling score.
Yep.
So you could take the lead in runs this week.
Yeah.
Depending on what you do with who you move in and out, you could do some things here.
Yeah.
So it is your choice. You get a new player.
It's gonna be offense, and it's gonna be Alec Boehm.
Okay, for which player?
I know that's the question, because somebody could just go and have a week. Oh my gosh. Can I tell you who I'm debating between?
Of course. I mean, I can't do anything.
I don't know if I want to.
I'll give you some feedback.
I don't know if I want to take out Schwarber or JT. I want to leave in Stott. Okay. I think today made a big difference.
Yeah. So Schwarber racked you up 4 RBIs and 6 runs. JT racked you up 5 RBIs, 5 runs. They both hit 2 home runs. I already told you Kyle struck out 17 times. JT struck out 6. I think JT was 7 of 32. Kyle was 5 of 33, but in terms of getting on base, Kyle walked 9 more times. JT walked 1 time. So there's a little give and take there, right? Like there's strikeouts for the walks. That'll up your on base percentage.
Yeah.
Bomer doesn't walk a ton. It's
okay.
I'm not really giving you advice.
No.
I'm just kind of
my gut instinct was I'm gonna swap JT for Bomer.
All right. So
I'm keeping Schwarber and Stott.
All right. Bomer's going in for JT. JT is no longer, but JT's stats continue to count. Like we are you are rolling in total.
Right.
Well, I got to figure that out.
Yeah.
I got to figure out how we're going to do it. Like it might start a new month essentially like today since we redrafted. Like you wipe clean the stats. I haven't decided. We'll have to talk about how we're going to
I think that's fair. Since we're changing players.
Like the lead is the lead. It's 9. I got to figure out what that looks like. I think it's like almost it just resets.
Yeah, you have won 9-3.
So I'm 1-0.
That's correct. You are 1-0.
Okay. All right. Azzy's 1-0.
Yes.
Okay. Azzy's 1-0. We reset.
Yes.
And starting today.
Correct.
All right. And then let's decide the next end date.
Okay.
All right. So today is the 28th. So
let's assume our normal upload schedule.
Our normal upload schedule would be the 30th of May.
Let's do that.
Okay. 30th of May. So we'll go from the 29th of April to the 30th of May is the new.
Exactly. Everything is reset and off we go.
And off we go.
You are up 1-0.
As he leads 1-0.
As he leads 1-0.
All right. And he keeps.
I really needed my pitching to step up, and Ranger just caught a heater.
He did.
Caught an absolute heater.
At the end of May, we will decide if we want to add a pitcher.
Correct. Yes.
To our, we can add
maybe like a flex option.
Yup. And one more offensive player because that'll turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is that. Now I will start retracking. It is not fun to do that all at
I know,
once.
I'm
so
sorry.
Have to do that every night.
We're gonna have to figure out if there's like a way we can like put this into some online data, like get this like into some fantasy website and see if they can track it for us.
I mean, I kind of had fun doing it. I just wish I would have done it over the course of the entire.
Call your boy Joe and see if someone in his company can build us a little mini fantasy site.
I mean, that was really
just for the two of us.
We only did it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I feel like my win is kind of cheap.
No.
I'll take
Listen, you had a better draft and you deserve to win the first round. I will say that.
All right. Well, here we go with the next round. So it's bad because I don't want to root against it, right? Like I want these guys to they all
yeah.
All right. So let's go to our final segment. The birds. The draft is over. And Regz, it was a darn good one.
Another plug for if on our YouTube channel, if you go to the live section, you can watch the entire almost 4-hour live stream of us reacting to the entire first round of the draft and the Sixers game simultaneously. I went back and like watched it on like 1.5 speed just for fun. It was great. It was fantastic. Listen, slight technical difficulties with your microphone not being loud enough. I think we'll get that figured out for next time, but fun nonetheless.
It was a blast. It was
great to be. We haven't been in the room together for a lot of things. Like again, one of my fondest memories will be of us watching the Phillies get to the World Series in that golf course bar. Yeah. Like coming in from being soaked to the bone all day long.
Yeah.
Being unbelievably pissed when Sir Anthony had like 2 pass balls and like they're down, and then Bryce happens and none of us know what's going on because everyone's trying to refresh their phone at the same time. The golf course doesn't have enough Wi-Fi or cell coverage for us to like pull up the video. Like we're watching through, like, somebody says Bryce did something, nobody knows what it is. Like, we have to figure it out. We've run into the bar to watch Ranger close it out. Like, just wild.
Well, I think all this tells me is we're gonna have to do something else live that matters.
Yes.
Right. So, whether that be like a Phillies playoff game or an Eagles game of some sort.
Yeah.
We'll have to do something that matters that we live react to that people can watch alongside of us. I feel like if they have a chance to, like the Phillies, you know, when they get to the end of the year and they have a chance to clinch a playoff spot or something like that, we should probably make something like that work.
Listen, we might, and I know we're just kind of talking through this as we record, and that's fine. The people can know the process.
Sure. True.
Like, look, we can just, like, once a month pick something to just be on the stream, like, be on this for, and then we can be in person for, like, the bigger things. But, like, once a month we could figure out we can go live in this setup and we could be reacting just like this. You know, I know we're not in the same room, which we love to be, but, you know, this could kind of supplement that until the schedules align and we can be in person together.
I'm in. All
right, we'll figure that out.
We'll figure it out. All right, let's talk about the draft.
All right.
We did react to Quignon. I want to go back to, I can't believe they didn't have to.
Yeah.
I just assumed he was going to be gone.
Yeah. A lot of people did.
Look, a 4-3 corner is unheard of. The ball skills, I'm
gonna look this up. Hold on.
The
Keep
twitch,
going.
the size, all of it. I said this on Thursday. The only plus for me, Arnold over him, and when I say Arnold, I mean Terrian from Alabama, is just who he played. And, you know, Mitchell went to the Senior Bowl to show that he could play with those guys, and he did, and he was great. So the fact they stayed where they could, or where they did and got him, is just unbelievable. He's NFL ready. He's going to start day one. James Bradbury's gone.
Yeah.
Simple as that. This was an A+ start to the
Can I read you something great that Elliot Reed replied to on Twitter as being a detractor of this pick because of this was his not favorite corner that they could have picked. And mainly it was because of what you just said. Like, who did he play? Mm-hmm. So someone tweeted Sauce Gardner, Cincy, L'Jarius Sneed, LA Tech, Jaylon Johnson, Utah, Kenny Moore, Valdosta State, Shavarius Ward, Middle Tennessee, Darius Williams, UAB, Teron Johnson, Weber State, all top 10 rated corners last season. Mm-hmm. So, like, I get it. He went to Toledo, but sometimes guys are just good football players. And that's what it comes down to. And I think that they just got a good football player.
He had issues coming out of high school with his grades.
Yes.
Toledo kept their word and their offer.
Mm-hmm.
When college football went the route of the portal, he was really sought after.
This kid looked at Nick Saban and said, "Sorry, coach.
No, I'm staying."
Yeah.
Because of my relationships.
Right.
And when he got drafted, did you see the reaction of his teammates?
Yeah.
I think that tells you everything you need to know about the kid.
Yeah.
You know, Howie was asked about, like, you know, his preference of the Power Five. And he said, yeah, I don't deny that. We do have a preference to the Power Five. So it takes someone special to get us away from that. And Mitchell was that.
Yeah.
Look, there's no questions about this kid. Nick Sirianni's college roommate was his head coach. They know everything there is to know about Quignon.
Yeah, right.
So, look, we left that day thinking, okay, well, we get 2 picks tomorrow. I didn't think they were going to make both picks. I thought they would move back with one of them to build some draft capital.
Yeah.
They said, forget that. We're going to move up. We're going to dive higher in this draft, but we're going to recoup a 3rd round pick. So they gave Washington both 50 and 53. Gave them, I believe, 160. I can't remember. But then grabbed the 3rd round pick and also grabbed who most people rate the 2nd best defensive back in the draft, Cooper DeJean. And I'm sitting there like, am I mad? Am I happy? I don't know. They gave up a lot to get him, but they clearly like him. He's an incredible tackler. He can make plays in coverage. He can run. He can be a kick returner, a punt returner. He's interchangeable and versatile. I think for me, this is pretty easily a win. And let me say what I mean by that. Say they decide to start him in the nickel. Like that's where he starts, right? If Darius Slay has to miss 6 weeks again, you slide him out there because he can play out there. At Iowa, they just kind of moved him all over the place. He just played wherever they wanted him to play. Between he and Quinyon Mitchell, do you know how many touchdowns they allowed?
I know Quinyon only allowed 1, so.
No, it was 0. They didn't allow any in coverage, neither one of them. I got to say, man, like this, Howie basically said, tell me again I don't value corn.
Yeah.
This, to me, is Howie reading the room and wanting to prove that the room was wrong. That it was miswritten. It was totally off base. And I gotta be honest with you, man, he nailed it.
Yeah.
He absolutely nailed it.
We talked about this when
another A.
We talked about this when the Quinyon pick happened. The Eagles desperately needed guys who could just cover people.
Yeah.
There was a severe lack of that ability on this defense last year. I understand that Vic Fangio is more of a zone guy. I understand the scheme, but sometimes when it comes down to it, you just need dudes who can be sticky to someone. Yep. No matter who it is, whoever's coming in their window, they got to be able to hang with them. Yep. And the Eagles had a severe lack of players who had that skill. Quinyon Mitchell has that skill. I thought taking him first, as opposed to some people were thinking they were going to take DeJean at 22. Mm-hmm. Like that was a thing.
That was a conversation
because Arnold and Quinyon were going to be gone.
Right.
So to get him at 22, I thought was utterly fantastic. Again, go back and watch our reaction to it. As the funniest thing from that entire thing, as they're about to make the pick, and we don't have the sound on because we weren't trying to get copyrighted by the NFL. So we see Roger talks for 2 minutes about, I think, unfortunately, somebody who died. So again, apologies to that person's family. But we're all just like, he's not making the pick. What is happening?
Yeah.
And then it switches to Mailata in Australia. And both of us do this. We both go from here to, we are both leaned in so close to the screen because we're trying to read Jordan Mailata's lips to see what he says.
I mean,
and our reaction is priceless, but I thought that was a fantastic pick. Someone put the DeJean thing to me this way. Part of Vic's defense is we're going to look like this and then it's going to be something different. Mm-hmm. And the more players you can get that, like CJ, maybe he's playing nickel this time. Maybe he's dropping back. Cooper DeJean, where the hell is he supposed to be, right? All of a sudden he's standing on the line or at the linebacker position. Is he going to stay there? Like, what the hell is going on? So someone made an excellent point that, like, if your defense is predicated on guys' ability to be somewhere but they're not really there, but they got to get back and play some coverage and just be versatile so that teams believe. Like a team has to believe that CJ could be the nickel for a play, you know, and then it's not that, or it is. Like they just don't know.
Yeah.
So
that's what Vic Fangio's defense
exactly.
is.
So I appreciated the fact that DeJean has this versatility. I don't think he's necessarily going to be a great man corner in the NFL. I just don't think that's his skill set. But if his job is to just come in and be the guy where the offenses look at it and they're like, I don't know where the hell that guy's going to be when I snap this football or what he's doing, great. Just have him be a madman. Like, just have him be everywhere and nowhere all at the same time.
Yeah. And if he has to move outside for a few games, so be it. Let's see what he's got.
Right.
I wouldn't be upset about that. So they moved back again from that third round spot. They traded with the 49ers and moved back and also grabbed an extra fourth for the following. Well, and they took Jalix Hunt, the edge rusher from Houston Christian. Now, this by many was considered a reach at the time. However, Daniel Jeremiah has him in the top 100, and Jeremiah is pretty spot on in terms of where guys get taken with his rankings. Howie was very outspoken in saying that they believed Hunt was going to be gone before they picked again. So he wanted to get this kid. Look, if there's going to be a roll of the dice pick at a position in the third round, this feels like the right spot because there's no pressure on him to play this year.
Yeah.
They're fine depth-wise at they need defensive end in the future. But they've got enough this year.
Yeah.
That he can just learn in the background and play some special teams.
Right.
That's it. I mean, the guy's a freak show athletically.
And apparently one of Fangio's favorite picks.
Players in the draft.
Right.
Yeah. This to me, he's a draft and develop prospect. But, and again, when you say that, some people are like, well, third round picks, we want playing every day or every week, right? I don't, there were guys there you could plug and play, but I don't know. There are, like, if I went through the third round of every single draft over the last 4 or 5 years, there are going to be misses on guys.
Yeah, right.
There are going to be misses on guys, plain and simple.
Yeah.
Look, you've got Nolan Smith. You've got Brandon Graham. You brought over the kid from New York, right? And you've got it. I'm drawing a blank on like 2 other guys that I can't think of now. Quara. So like you've got guys he can learn. This is a let him learn year. And then if it pans out and Nolan Smith takes and the kid from New York takes a step forward. I keep saying the kid from New York because I forget his name. That's embarrassing. But then you've got 3 really young pass rushers. 3 really young pass rushers that you can build around. And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's a really good thing.
Yeah.
So I like it. He is very reliant on the gifts that he has athletically, but that's because he has to. As he's learning the position, he has to be that way. But there's a lot of explosivity in the body. A lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot. He's like shot out of a cannon.
Bryce Huff, by the way, is who you're looking for.
Thank you. Goodness gracious. Thank you. So, yeah, Huff, and Smith could be a lot of fun. You know, and they have the here's another one for you. The dude that Zach Baun.
Yeah.
You know, that they're going to try and deploy that way too.
And look, also think about this kid, what used to be a safety.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're talking about, I really think you have to take into consideration what the Eagles defense is meant to be under Vic Fangio.
Yeah.
They have their pure pass rushers in Huff and Sweat. These guys are just going to go get the quarterback.
Yeah.
But outside of that, Fangio is looking for guys that, like, you don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
And if you have a guy who's this athletic and has some inherent ability to like watch the quarterback's eyes and understand like what's going to happen. Again, he didn't do it at the NFL level. He didn't do it at a Power 5, you know what I mean, college team. I get that. But like your job with this kid is to develop him and have him understand what's going to happen. So I'm totally with you. I had no idea who he was when they first said the name. I was like, cool, great. Again, some people were like, well, look, you could have made this pick much later. They didn't think so. So look, we don't know the same things Howie Roseman does.
Yeah.
So they made a pick, and very honestly, look, with a guy like Vic Fangio, you're gonna have to throw him a bone.
Yeah.
Like you're just gonna have to keep the relationship in the state that you want it to be.
Here's the other thing. I don't want to badmouth Houston Christian or even Cornell for that matter, where he played safety. But like, let's be real. He's not getting he's going to like build too. Like he's going to get bigger, fill out more.
Well, apparently he had a huge growth spurt even like in college or right before college, which is why like he turned into this 6'4" behemoth.
Well, he's going to even develop more.
Yes.
In this situation.
He's going to learn so much more about himself, the way to train, eat, sleep.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
This
I like the pick. I gave it a B+. I mean, I'm obviously not going to give it based on projectable. It feels like a BB+. So then round 4 hit, and I'm sitting there like, oh, they get to pick at 120, and they traded back to 123. And I was like, all right, well, they're going to pick at 123, and then they traded back again, and oh my gosh, they better pick at 126. But they started to accrue picks for next year, and we'll talk about why as we go. And they took at 127 Will Shipley, the running back from Clemson.
Yeah.
And I was surprised to see running back here, but I wasn't angry about the one that I saw. I love Will Shipley. It actually, his recruiting came down to Clemson and Notre Dame, and he chose Clemson. Over the last 2 years, he's top 5 in rushing touchdowns among NCAA running backs. He averaged about 5.5 yards a carry, which is awesome. He runs hard. His skill set is basically what they wanted Kenny Gainwell to be. Now, Gainwell will be the RB2 to start the year.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. However, if Shipley's impressive, they're going to give him opportunities. He's now Boston Scott, essentially.
Yeah, right.
Tremendous special teams opportunity, too. So now they have DeJean in here. They've got Shipley in here. I don't know what in the world is going to happen to our buddy Britton.
I think Britton's out, I think.
Listen, very sad.
We loved him, but
very sad. But I really like the Will Shipley pick. I gave that an A-.
Yeah.
I have a hard time not liking that.
This is one I'm interested in because I know what you said about it, and then I listened to the Philly special for The Ringer, and Ben Solak is just like, look, he's just a guy. He's fine at everything. He's just fine.
Yep.
He's fine at catching. He's fine at running. He's fine at blocking. Like, he's just fine. So, again, he's not coming in to be your RB2. I don't really know what they knew and like why they wanted to pick him now. Because it seems like if he's just kind of a guy, like, you know, maybe you pick him later. Again, we don't have all the same information that the Eagles do. Let's hope it works out, right? If he turns into a very serviceable RB2, fantastic. I know nothing about the kid. So, like, let's see what happens.
Yeah. He's coming in to be RB3 and maybe do some special team stuff. And then you see from.
Right.
If it works out, great.
Right.
Great. So the other pick they got from the Commanders came in the bottom half of the 4th round, I believe. Might have been the 5th. I can't remember where the picks all fell. There was so much trading yesterday. But they took Aeneas Smith, wide receiver from Texas A&M, another weapon in special teams. So they just loaded up on dudes who can make big plays in special teams. However, he's also this dude's like 5'9", like 190. Okay.
Yeah.
So not super big, but the twitch on this kid, like the whiffs on his highlight reel, it's insane. Like he just makes everybody miss. He's so quick. I think that they saw, like you said about Vic, this is a Kellen pick.
Yeah.
Kellen loves putting dudes in space. He loves a wide receiver 3 that he can put in space and just let him go with the football.
Yeah.
That's Aeneas Smith.
Yeah.
That's who this kid is. They're going to have different plays in the playbook drawn up to put him in space. When you command so much attention with 1 and 2, and now Saquon Barkley and Dallas Goedert.
Yeah, right.
And you've got a kid with this much movement. And again, he doesn't have to come in right away and be that guy.
Right. He's just going to have a couple plays, like you said.
He doesn't have to come in. He is depth all the way through because of what they did in the offseason.
Yeah.
He is pure depth. And I think his ability now to just come in and learn is going to be helpful for him in the long run, just because of what they have in terms of their.
And again, if that's the guy you're bringing in, but he also has this ability to be a returner, like Britton Covey didn't give you anything offensively.
No.
This guy has the ability to give you maybe something offensively, like you said, in a few situations, but also has the ability to be very valuable as a returner.
Yeah.
And especially in this new kickoff age that we're going to be in.
Yeah.
So again, he's just bringing an additional skill set to the team.
Yeah, but he's going to start behind Paris Campbell.
Yes.
At least the beginning of the year.
Right.
And then, from there, we'll see.
Yeah.
But it's a nice little, again, there were places they didn't have any depth.
Yeah.
Wide receiver was one of them.
Right.
Like they like Devontae Parker was brought in as like, all right, let's see. Paris Campbell brought in to play, but now they made sure to draft depth at that position.
Yep.
Okay. Let's keep going here. Running out of time. And here was the pick that everybody was waiting for. At 155 from the Colts, Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Yeah.
All right. Here.
Did you see that video?
Which one?
Of Howie and like the whole room. Yeah. Man.
That was cool.
So cool.
Very emotional. All right. Look. Unless you own a Jeremiah Trotter jersey, like senior, this isn't a guy whose jersey is going to be selling.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's
right.
I think what I said to you yesterday was this. This is a cool pick for sure. He is instinctive. He's tough, plays hard. He's lost in space.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't have, not lost, he doesn't have the athleticism.
Right.
He's undersized.
Yeah.
It's basically Nakobe Dean.
Yeah.
Maybe without the injury, because he's been pretty available.
Yeah.
His college career. I think the best you're gonna get, which I think Eagle fans will be cool with, is a reincarnation of TJ Edwards. That's ceiling for me. And I think that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
However, I'm going to need the fan base to chill when he's not playing weeks 2, 3, 4, 5, so on and so forth. He's fine depth.
Yeah.
Their linebacker room it goes 5 or 6 deep now. And that's okay. And they're probably going to add another guy. And that's okay. He's not going to be 1, 2, or 3. He's not.
Yeah.
He was picked at 155.
Right.
Again, the value is great because he was a top 1 to 110 prospect. So the value at 155 is tremendous.
Yeah.
For the value alone, it's an A pick.
Right.
But let's temper the expectations. He's not his father.
Right.
So
somebody put it really well. It was just like, look, if he turns into, like you said, TJ Edwards, fantastic.
Yeah.
But even if just for the first few years, he makes some special teams plays and he does the Axeman celebration and the place just goes bonkers.
Yeah. Which will probably happen.
Like, awesome. Right?
Yeah.
Awesome for that kid. Awesome for the city. Awesome for his father. Like, awesome.
That's probably going to happen.
Yeah. Which will be great. Especially if he wears 54, which is available, that many people have said.
Yeah.
He will. But look, I think you're exactly right. I think the best part is you're getting a kid who couldn't be more motivated to turn into the best version of himself.
Yeah, he's going to be very amazing. He's going to put the chip on his shoulder.
But with zero pressure, real pressure from the actual team. There might be fan base pressure, but this team does not have the pressure on Jeremiah Trotter Jr.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And if any team wants to nurture this kid to like be the best that he can be, it's going to be this team.
Yeah.
So listen, if it all works out and he hits that ceiling of TJ Edwards, awesome.
Yep.
Good for that kid for putting in the work. Good for the Eagles for putting in the work to nurture a kid and let him hit his ceiling. Listen, if he's just like an awesome special teams player, like we've seen guys have awesome careers in the NFL being really good special teams players. It is what it is. It's like you said. It's a 4th round, 5th round linebacker.
Yep. And that's okay.
Yep.
That's okay. So then they in the bottom half of the 5th round, this is where they kind of went offensive line minded. They took Trevor Keegan, a guard from Michigan. There's not one thing that stands out about him from, I went back and watched some tape of him. He is a road grader, dude. Like he is just gonna bulldoze you. He's a big man.
I heard much better in run protection or run blocking than pass protection.
Sure, and that's pretty accurate. However, I don't know. Have you seen the tweets of the Raz score?
No.
Okay, so there's a guy, Kent Lee Platt. He created something called Raz, and it's the relative athletics.
Yeah.
Basically, what he does is he takes the combine scores and puts them on a scale from 0 to 10. Trevor Keegan was drafted in round 5, pick 172 in this year's class. He scored a 9.19 Raz out of a possible 10. This ranked him 129th out of 1,583 guards from 1987 to 2024. So, athletically, when it comes to guards, it's a pretty good place to be.
This is a guy Stout looked at and said, I can make this guy an NFL player.
Stout you.
Yep.
Now, I don't know that he's going to start right away.
No. I think
Tyler Steen is probably starting.
I think this draft made very clear that Tyler Steen is their starting guard.
However, just let this kid get some coaching.
Right.
Let him get some coaching and let's see what happens. He looks like a warrior.
Yeah. I mean, look, you can't also, as much as I hate Michigan, you can't take away from the fact that this guy was like a 3-year starter on one of the best college teams for the past couple years.
Right. Like, and a captain.
He did it. He earned it. He stayed there. Listen, he's not like a stud now, but that kind of stuff matters.
Yep. And then at pick 185, I couldn't believe that this dude made it as far as he did. From Florida State, Johnny Wilson, wide receiver. This guy's size.
Just a specimen.
Yeah. Absolute matchup nightmare for teams. Do you remember the name Devin Funchess?
Yes.
Okay. That's size-wise kind of who he reminds me of.
Carolina Panthers, great.
Yes, I hope the talent, turns out to be more.
Yeah.
However, Johnny, same thing, RAS score. Okay. 9.7 out of the possible 10. This ranked 102nd out of 3,402 wide receivers from 1987 to 2020. I think what the Eagles did was they basically said, we're going to take a whole bunch of specimens.
Yeah.
And see what we can do.
Right.
Right.
It's like the Phillies. You take stuff, right? And then you coach them into, you believe in your ability to coach them into what you're looking for.
Correct. I just going back to this, Jalix Hunt, his res 141 out of 1,798 defense.
Yeah, you sent me that one.
Okay. So what I want to say is they needed more receiving depth, and they got that in this draft. They took 2.
Yeah.
Both of whom could probably play if necessary. Then their final pick, Dylan McMahon, center, NC State. He's just a center. There's no versatility there, and that's okay. They have nobody else who can snap the football.
Yeah.
On the roster.
Yeah, right.
So you're it, buddy.
Maybe you need someone just in case.
So Dickerson can, but they're certainly not moving him out.
Yeah, right.
But he's really good in his own scheme, which is mostly what the Eagles run from a blocking perspective. That's just how Stout does things.
Yeah. Very
zone oriented. And, look, I had to do it. So I went and looked at his RAS because I had to. This blew me away. Dylan McMahon ranks 13th out of 619 centers between 1987 and 2024. So I looked it up. I had to see. Juergens was 3rd.
Oh.
Kels was like in the 30s or 40s. This kid's 13th.
Yeah.
So basically what they did was, again, they took stuff and said, Stout,
right.
Here you go.
Right.
Here you go.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably start the year on the practice squad.
Yeah.
And that's okay. But again, based on stuff, this is an A+ draft. Howie wasn't done though, Regz, because today he signed Mekhi Becton, the former 11th overall pick, off of the Jets. $5.5 million. His deal can get up to. Again, Stout, here's stuff.
Yeah, right.
Teach him.
Yeah.
Because
Caleb,
Regz,
here's Jose Alvarado.
Yeah, he's 25 years old.
Right. And a former top 12 pick.
And if you can figure it out or help him figure it out, you sign him again.
Yeah.
And when the time comes that Lane decides he's going, you've got a young right tackle.
Yeah.
For now, he's going to be a swing tackle.
Right.
And that's okay. That's a nice piece to have that they did not have going into the draft at 25.
Mm-hmm.
So before the draft, Regz, this was their offensive line room. We already know about the top 5. We'll include Steen in that, right? Their depth going into the draft was Hennessy, who they just signed, and Fred Johnson, with practice squad player Darian Kennard. Okay. Now, their backup positions are Hennessy, which is still great.
Yep.
Fred Johnson, which is fine. Mekhi Becton, awesome. Trevor Keegan, awesome. And then McMahon will probably make the team just because they need someone who can snap the ball.
Right.
Their offensive line depth got worlds better between Thursday and today.
Right.
Wide receiver depth got worlds better between Thursday and today. in undrafted free agency, they also took Georgia's running back. So they did add another running back.
Okay.
I have to take a closer look at their undrafted free agency move. They didn't do a whole lot because of NIL this year.
Yeah.
There weren't a whole lot there. So overall, I loved it. Here's one other thing to consider. They went into the weekend with 6 draft picks next year. They left the weekend with 9.
Yeah.
So if they do get hit with tampering and they lose a pick, they'll still have 7 or 8 picks.
Yeah.
And you know, they've got 5 picks before the 5th round. And it's a really deep draft next year because NIL won't be a problem. So, Howie, your name is my Phixated. That's it. I love him, Regz. I love him. We are beyond fortunate. I don't know why teams keep trading with him.
Listen, I just think there's a very big, the thing that Howie does best maybe is not talent evaluation or things like that.
No.
What Howie does best is rely on the people around him to he takes in every piece of information and trusts the people that are giving him the information. And then Howie's job is to know what every single team in the draft is doing so they can then make informed decisions about how to get the players that they want.
Yeah.
That's Howie's job. And he's one of the best at it. We're not calling Howie like the greatest talent evaluator in the history of football. Like, that's not who Howie is. He might be one of the best information gatherers in football today.
Yeah. Did you see the what he calls day 4?
No.
So essentially they called a meeting on Sunday. On Saturday or Friday night. I can't remember how they do it. But basically all the scouts
just the passion meeting. Yeah.
Who's the guy you're most passionate about?
Yeah.
And then did you see the picture that he brought everybody down for?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, he just gets it, man.
Yeah.
He just gets it. I know you just watched it. In the middle of Regz talking about how he understands how to use his people, I sent him a tweet of Mekhi Becton absolutely murder person as a right tackle.
Just left hand, like, woof.
I'm psyched.
A grown man.
Here's the thing, Regz. You know, at some point you're gonna Lane's not gonna be able to play.
Right.
Like we know that he always misses 2 or 3. It's just the way it works with Lane. And now you got a guy you can put in there who's an absolute mammoth.
And listen, look, I don't know, like, I know we talk about Stout and like his ability to do this, and like, look, is Stout perfect? No. Like, Tyler Steen hasn't turned into probably what we're looking for. But look, the kid was a rookie last year. Like, there could be a million other reasons that he just wasn't quite ready to be there.
Right.
Like, Opeta isn't a great player. You know what I mean? But like, he's not meant to be. Like, the talent isn't there. You know what the 11th pick in the
made him passable.
You know what the 11th pick in the draft has? The talent to be there.
Yep.
So like, that's the difference that we're talking about. We're not talking about taking a 5th round. Again, he might be able to turn 5th round picks into serviceable NFL players, but like, we're talking about the 11th pick in the draft
or 6th round picks into Hall of
Famers. Right. Again, that's not going to happen all the time. I think we can lower,
obviously Trevor Keegan,
of course, future Hall of Famer, obviously.
Yeah. Guy looks like it.
Yeah. But it's just like, there's a difference between those guys and having the 11th pick in a draft 2 years ago.
Sure. So look, at the end of the day, it was a great draft weekend, a great baseball weekend, shitty basketball, but what do you call it? You come to expect that with this team.
Right.
But hey, listen, thank you all for hanging out with us. We know it was a longer show, but definitely worth the listen tonight as we really kicked off the baseball thing and hit up with the draft. And now we kind of focus back on baseball.
That's right.
I think, when we talk to you again, basketball will likely it'll be done. No more basketball. And football, I mean, we'll keep, track of the rookie stuff, mini camp, all that. But you're basically getting baseball for the next 3-4 months.
Oh, I love it.
So we'll have a lot to talk about. Shows might be a little shorter. I'm sure that'll,
Yeah, there's a lot to get to tonight.
There's a lot to get to tonight, but we appreciate listening. If you haven't already done so, click subscribe on the box below if you're watching us on YouTube. Then go wherever you get your podcasts and follow as well as rate. We love those ratings as well. And then head to social media at the B&B Pod on Instagram, on Twitter as well, at the Phixated Pod on Twitter, at the Mic Drop 5 on Twitter, at Big Regz with a Z on Twitter, at the Phixated fan page on Facebook. And of course, click the merch link in the show description below. We might have to add a Howie shirt, I think.
That's not a bad idea.
I think
we'll refresh the merch shop this year.
Yeah.
That's going to be one of the goals.
That's a goal. And the website's still a goal. Can't find it. If anybody listening right that has a good place where like it's just manageable to create content. I don't want it doesn't need to be a crazy website. Like WordPress might be it. That's all I can find. But if anybody knows anything better, please let me know. I really would like to start writing for us.
Yeah.
So let us know. Send us an email. Anywho, thanks for listening. We love you guys, except for the Sixers. You guys we don't love right now. Love you, Howie. Go Phils.
Go Phils. Stay hot, Bohm. I need some help, buddy.
Oh my God! Deep to right field, way up there and way out of here. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champions. Eagles fans everywhere, this is for you.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball.